up at Sirius last week, Sirius XM. I was on Angela. I was up at Angela Yee's morning show.
No doubt.
I went to
Angela's
interview.
the homie,
Yeah, I went to interview Angela. She told me about this. She goes, Elliott Wilson can be intimidating sometimes.
Me?
Yeah. And then she said,
Wow.
she said he's got a temper as well. I think he's got a temper.
Yeah,
I went,
temper.
are we talking about the same guy? Elliott's cool. How can he?
So you on my good side, man. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
like
I'm not a tough dude, but like I think I'm just like I'm strong-minded. My temper is not as bad as it was back in the day. Like I feel like I'm a lot more mellow. Like I tell people, like I get mad and then I calm down quick.
Right.
I get real emotional. Like so, I'm just passionate. I'm passionate, emotional. But most of the time, I want to be like I am now. I want to be happy. I want to be laughing. I want to be like, in a positive mood.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes that does happen. But you know.
So I was like, so him and Bdot must have got it in enough times. And she's like, I think so.
Me and Bdot must have what?
Like a lot of arguments. You know.
Not a lot. I mean, there's times when I'm kind of mean to Bdot, but again, not as much. I mean, you can probably ask him more than whatever. I think that every once in a while, maybe something where there's a post where, you know, he may do it and I may disagree with what he did or want him to tweak something and he doesn't agree with me, so kind of like going over.
Yeah, but that's creative differences and that's just you talking it out. But
yeah.
I don't think you ever throw down like, you know, to get like you did. I don't think you've ever blown your head at him like that, like a temper. I'm cute. Elliott,
no, but
man.
Bdot's not no punk. That's the thing. And don't let Angela fool you. She's not no punk either. So anybody like that see me be mean, I don't roll with punks. So they're not punks either. Like, you know, Bdot's a stand-up dude. Like, you know, so you have your disagreements. I think it's just in the past. I think it's really probably just the passion itself.
Yeah.
Like, I get real passionate about my beliefs, my passion about, you know, people, you know, trying to find truth and honesty in this fake ass industry. You know, I try to deal with people in a straight up way as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that sometimes we can deal with each other like that, but then sometimes we get caught up on this industry shit.
Right.
And I think I hate that. Like I feel like I'm such a product of the industry, but I still have this defense where I like to step out of it and just throw rocks at it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's all bullshit.
When was the first time you met Bdot?
Bdot worked at
Double XL.
When
you first met him, what was he like?
Bonsu Thompson.
Right.
Well, does stuff for Dreams Are Real Entertainment. He does stuff for Vibe now too. He met Bdot at he's a graduate of University of Delaware, and he met Bdot at like some kind of speaking engagement there, and he was like a baby Bonsu, like he wanted to write, he wanted to be down. But the funny thing about Bdot was Bdot graduated from college and just kind of went up to Harris Publications because he kind of knew people at King, he knew us at Double XL, and he knew people at Slam. So he's like sitting in a cubicle working for free, and he's writing for everybody. And we're just like, who's this kid? So at a certain point, it's just like, how's this kid here? Who's he work for? Like, does he work for H1? Does he work for you?
Yeah.
Elliott, does he work for you? Does he work for Slam? Like, who's he? And he's writing for everybody, and he's caking up. And it's like, who's this kid? So finally, we all made him like have to choose. Like, who you gonna be down with, nigga? Like, you down? So thankfully, he chose XXL. And then, you know, Bdot was editorial assistant and just young and just, you know, always had the smart instincts. But, you know, he definitely had to learn a lot. He definitely was raw. And then he would get on our nerves because he always had opinions and he tried to talk in the meetings and he wasn't really ready yet. So we kind of clown him. So it was a lot of tough love. He had a lot of, you know, growing in the XXL system, you know. And then, you know, when I left and stuff, I had heard he took it kind of real hard in a lot of ways of me not being there. So we sort of stayed cool a little bit. But people know, like, I don't stay extra cool with my staff people, like, in terms of friendships. Like, I'm not the most whatever, but it just seemed meant to be. Like, my original viewpoint was I wasn't going to hire somebody that I worked with before. I was going to probably hire somebody new. Yeah. But it just so turned out that I started really thinking about it, and I really felt like Bdot's passion and, you know, his knowledge of me and how I get down, everything works out better. And then we had a good meeting. We met in like this secret diner in Queens, and we had to sit down and we started mapping shit out. And I didn't even have a name of it yet. I didn't know what to call the site yet. And I just left the diner like, okay, I'm gonna hire Bdot. We're gonna do it. And,
nice.
You know, and he's grown. You know, I'm very proud of him. I think that it's also that thing too. It's like I have a strong personality, but I don't want the products that I do to be like the YN show. You know, it's all about me and the ego of me. Bdot has his own beliefs. Yes. He has his own position on things, and sometimes we don't agree on it. But I think that under the RapRadar machine, he's developed his own voice and people now recognize, okay, Bdot's like this, and Elliott's like that. So
The first time you met Paul Rosenberg.
that's a good one. Well, as people know, true rap historians know that Eminem had beef with XXL first.
Yep.
So there was always a lot of tension. But what I had heard was that, you know, everyone was there was sort of like a middle people, like this kid Riggs who works for Shady.
Yeah.
Riggs was actually at the source with me back in the day.
Okay.
He was my assistant as music editor, his music assistant. So Riggs was always telling people up there, people like him, was something that, nah, but Elliott's at XXL now, it's different now, Elliott's the shit, read the magazine. And they started reading the magazine and recognizing that XXL was getting good. So Paul started in the back of his mind, a businessman, being like, okay, you know, should I see if I could work with this nut job?
Yeah.
And see if I could, you know, not just have Source and Vibe, but
Yeah.
have a dual entity that was emerging. Because we had started to emerge a little bit and started to make noise and put ourselves in the conversation. So another mutual friend, Noah Callahan Bever, who works at Complex, he set up the meeting.
Okay.
And we met up in Shady, and I remember, you know, obviously being floored by how big Paul was. You know, talk about intimidating. He's fucking huge. He's Paul Bunyan. He's fucking huge.
Wow.
So I'm looking up at him, and he's giving me his meanest face and being the biggest asshole he can. It's just like, so it's just weird. Like, so then we all go to lunch. So we're all walking across wherever in Manhattan is. It's me, Noah, and Paul. Me and Paul aren't really saying anything to each other. So then we sit down, and then we basically got into the thing where he said to me, this is some real memoir shit. This is funny. I'm giving it to you for free. You know, he says to me, he goes, so you heard about this Benzino record, right? And I hadn't heard it. Clue had played it the night before.
Okay.
I guess it was Pull Your Skirt Up.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard it. So I felt whacked that I hadn't heard it. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought he's fucking with me.
Right.
He's like, Benzino has a record, Pull Your Skirt Up, where he's dissing Eminem. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's why we're here. All right, cool. So what's going on with that? So I was trying to negotiate to try to get a, well, the one part before that, though, is that obviously XXL had built a great rapport with 50 Cent.
Sure.
And we had covered him, you know, because we loved the mixtapes and really was championing him as he got to deal with Shady. So when he got to deal with Shady, we were like, oh shit, what happens now? Because he's with them and they don't fuck with us. So the whole point was, I think at that time I was just trying to get a 50 cover.
Right.
And I was sitting with Paul. And Paul played a role in it. Him and Laddie were involved with the business side. And then he said, well, how would you like Eminem, 50 Cent, and Dr. Dre? And I'm just like, well, I mean, I would take 50 Cent by himself at this point or whatever. That's great, whatever. Like, but then, you know, he wanted to control the whole story and everything. So then we just had that argue about that. And then we left the meeting kind of tense. And then, you know, we were able to finally work it out. So, but yeah, the whole thing was just the business of like, Benzino had stepped out and now the source was attacking them. So it kind of brought the resolution between me and Paul there. So that's how we met. We met like just to see if we could do business together. Like Benzino kind of drove that meeting in a lot of ways for us to have a sit down. So, and then, but you know, Paul was still a hard ass businessman in terms of negotiating, and I had to negotiate and fight for points that I wanted, and we were able to put out that issue, and that issue was pretty historic.
Very historic.
But it was always a bitch though to deal with Paul in terms of XXL, because then it's like, you know, there was always a battle. And I think that's even why, you know, 50 Man made that comment, because, you know, you work together with those people and like we were all so entwined together, and all of us growing at the same time. G-Unit, XXL, you know, Eminem even further. So you start looking like, well, I put you on. You made me. I made you. So, you know, and that was always the drama where, you know, dealing with Paul was always, you know, he goes hard for Eminem. He's in the business of Marshall Mathers, who's his partner. You know, it's a hard negotiation. So, you know, that's what I love about RapRadar, where he's my partner in this, but he gives me creative freedom to do what I want, you know, 9 out of 10 times on a daily basis. And he's more doing his other businesses. He's not on top of me every 2 minutes. Worrying about what's going on with me, or he's relying on me to put out a hot site and be on top of everything that's not Marshall related, and then hopefully, you know, get some insight into things that are Marshall related. But that's always still the fight. So.